Hello, back once again with another Meghan Markle and Prince Harry story. This time, this story talks about overcoming 60 years of apartheid is not the same as marrying a white prince. Nelson Mandela's grandson slams Meghan Markle for suggesting South Africans celebrate her wedding day where they rejoice his freedom. Nelson Mandela's grandson, excuse me, slammed Meghan Markle for suggesting her marriages to Prince Harry sparked scenes and joy in South Africa, reminiscences of the 1990 release of legendary anti-apartheid campaigner after 27 years in jail, telling Mail Online, "Is you can't never be compared to celebration of someone's wedding." He's right. Zilla Mandela, if I said that right, has said he was surprised at her remarks in the Cut magazine, and she claimed that 3 years ago, a cast members of The Lion King had made comparisons between her royal wedding and the Malabas Malabas historic walk to freedom. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, not Malab. Mediabas celebration was based on overcoming 350 years of colonialism with 60 years of brutal apartheid regime in South Africa. It cannot be equated as the same." Referring to Megan, he said, "Every day are people who want to be Mandela, either comparing themselves to him or wanting to emulate him. But before people can regard themselves as Nelson Mandela's, they should be looking into the work of what he did to be able to be champions and advocates for the work he had for himself championed." The furor was sparked by the 6,409 word article called Megan in Montecito, published yesterday, where the former suit star Ricard encountered she had in 2019 premiere of the live-action version of the Disney classic. She said an actor from South Africa pulled her aside and told her, "I just need you to know, when you marry into the family, we rejoice in the streets, and so we did, and Mandela was free, as we did with Mandela was free from prison." Oh my God. Mail Online has learned that the story was astonished by the Mandela's family. Mandy Mandela, an MP and chef of the late South African president Viva tribe, said he was surprised at her remarks. His grandfather served 27 years in prison before being released and uniting opponents of going to lead his country. He said, when said the people of South Africa expressed their joy in his grandfather's release and danced in the streets, it was for far more important than a serious reason than her marriage to a white prince. It's, and this goes on to say that this is the Dukes of Sussex meeting with Grace Metro, the widow of Nelson Mandela. This is his grandson. This is the one that that kind of spoke out about that her main white prince is compared to the celebration of his grandfather, which is over here, which is Nelson Mandela. And he's right. You can't compare the two. He's right. He's absolutely right. That's his grandparents. I'll be upset too if someone said something crazy. Whoever said that, they need to told her something like that. They need a jungle beating for that one. What the heck you gonna say some crazy stuff like that for? They were celebrating because they're freedom for a whole nation, not because of a wedding. And she's not even South African. Um, Making it. She's not South African. This is the Lion King. This was at the premiere. What they're talking about, he was talking about. Get this video popping up. Excuse the page is still opening up on pictures. I mean, it's one thing to admire the man for what he stood for, Nelson Mandela, but then compare their story with a wedding to, like you said, to a prince. No, that you can't compare it. People rejoicing over the wedding. Not everybody in South Africa was rejoicing. Probably a few people. Like, why would you rejoice over the Queen of England's grandson? And you can't, like you said, you can't compare what his grandfather did. His grandfather, did it for a whole nation. I don't know why my page ain't open up. But yeah, you can't compare that. You really just have to go all the way, stroll down, and maybe. One thing about the articles online, it takes a while for their page to pull up. Sometimes I kind of use the sidebar, but this is not shocking. Someone says something outlandish, but yes, but this come out of her mouth though, and I guess I don't know, Megan. There's a lot of people don't realize in the 21st century when people think about people in South Africa as black, they got images in their mind. They don't think of them as a brilliant people. They don't think of them. They think about animals and people living out in the traditional of the wardrobe of what different tribes. They don't respect the tribes. I mean, even her own his grandfather that said something crazy one time. An African leader showed up in his traditional garb. His grandfather, Harry, and um, said that he said in the article that his they were saying, and his grandfather was a mess, saying that he thought the guy was showing up in his pajamas. This is an African leader. And this is what his grandfather said. And then he told other British students, when you go over to China, don't come back with slanted eyes. I mean, this is right before this man died. He says back 30 years prior before he passed away. He was racist like a mug. I was like, how can you? That's what he thought about the Chinese. That if you go over to China, your eyes gonna come back slanted. And he said that. Their grandfather, Harry's grandfather, said some stuff like that. See, they say things. People like that who talk like that, they code their racism, but they do it in a jokingly manner. Like and it was a article about that. I'm like, are you serious? And then said that the man come to his house in pajamas. One of the African leaders came dressed in his traditional African garb, and that's the he pulled like a Joe Biden and Donald Trump in a way. Just say anything off the top of your lips. Don't think nothing about it. Nelson Mandela's granddaughter. Marilyn shaking. This is Mandela when he was alive. So you know how to put on a face in front of the camera, boy. When it comes to high-profile people, the Sussex family do. You know, because they want to be liked and loved, and so they have to be popular around the crowd. But when you see something in the background, like God, dog. You know how many people who are colonialized in different countries and this family's legacy on their money, their currency, and things like that. And then you got some people. You actually had a tribe over in the island that actually worship his grandfather. It was despicable, man. It's like, how can you worship these people? But they just don't know. But I guess they think, a white skin is like being next to God. Certain people do. I mean, it should be. A person is a person. The only one you worship is Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus, the image of the Father. And he don't look like the Queen of England's family. you know, but subconsciously, you know, overall, love yourself. This is Laluma. Mary doesn't care how she portrays South Africa. She'll never step her foot again. And I believe that she was only